Hi guys, this is my second time doing this video because I spent about 45 minutes on the first one and my iPad somehow did not save it. So, round two. Alright, let's do this again. So I'm gonna go ahead and just jump into number two because I feel like number one is pretty, the things to know is pretty self-explanatory. So here we go. Alright, so here we're dealing with some polynomials by factoring. So you got x to the third power plus 4x squared minus 21x equals 0. Now, depending on how your previous instructor taught, when I'm dealing with factoring, anytime it says factoring, this is the checklist that I kind of go through. Right, the first thing for factoring you always check is there a greatest common factor? If there's a greatest common factor, factor that out. Okay? And then after the GCF, check the leftovers. The leftover is what's in the parentheses. And usually for the leftovers, if there are 4 terms, okay, if there's 4 terms, then I use grouping. If there are 3 terms, we can use the AC method. Now, if the number in front of the x squared is 1, and then we have the shortcut. Or a quick method, depends on which way you want to think about it. And if there are 2 terms, that's when I check the difference of squares or cubes, or you have the sum of cubes. Okay, so that's my factor checklist that I always go through. Now, so for this problem, right? So for this problem, I'm going to look at my GCF. And you can tell that pretty easily. They each have an x, so we're going to factor an x out. Oops, not 12, 21. Sorry about that. So this means x equals 0, or x squared plus 4x minus 21 equals 0. Okay. The x squared plus 4x minus 21 is, in this case, the leftover. Okay, so the leftover, in this case, we got 3 terms. So I'm going to use the shortcut because the number in front of x squared is 1. So in this case, this is factorable. This is x and x. And this is a plus 7 minus 3. So x equals negative 7 or x equals 3. And there are your 3 answers. Alright. Okay. So, the next problem, I'm just going to go ahead and erase this just because I want to keep that chart. Alright, so the next problem, what we have is we have the x to the 4th minus 12x squared equals 64. And since we're factoring, so we're going to go ahead and set it equal to 0. Alright, in this case, factoring, I don't have a GCF because 64 doesn't have an x. So I'm going to go to the next problem. I have 3 terms, so which means I need a kind of like I need the AC method or the shortcut. But check this out, because the number in front of the x to the 4th is 1, right? And I realize, hey, and this is the x squared right here. So you know what? We could probably do this way. I'm going to think of this as x squared times x squared, right? So I'm going to end up with x squares all around, and this one is just going to be, well, minus 64 is going to be minus 16 times 4. So this will be a minus 16 and plus 4 here. Okay. Alright, yeah, I think this one should work. And so we have x squared equals 16, x squared equal negative 4. So square root property from previous section. X squared equal plus minus square root 16, which is plus minus 4. Oh, excuse me, not x squared, just x. Silly me. Okay. Again, square root both sides here. X equal plus minus square root of negative 4. Take the I out, plus minus I square root of 4, which is plus minus 2I. So these are our 4 solutions. Okay? Yeah, so definitely, if you're thinking about factoring, I would think about that checklist. This is exactly what I do every time. I go through the list, and it helps me out. All right, now let's move on to the next question, the quadratic format. Okay, the reason we're calling this the quadratic format is because of the quadratic equation. And notice the exponent is always twice as large as the other one. Okay? Exponent is twice as large. I should say leading exponent is twice as large as the other exponent. Okay? So technically, right, if you look at the previous question, we could actually treat this is actually a quadratic format question, but I didn't want to go there yet, but we could definitely do this one, treat it as a quadratic. Alright, so coming back. Okay, so let's look at the question we have. This is p plus p to the, and change to back to black. P plus p to the 1/2. Now p is to the first power. Minus 20 equals 0. So in this case, I'm going to let, and this is kind of like the standard trick, let u equal p to the 1/2. And square both sides, so u squared is the same as p to the 1/2 squared. And p to the 1/2 squared means we multiply the exponents, so p to the first power. And once we have our u and u squared set up, we're going to plug them in. So we now have u squared plus u minus 20 equals 0. This seems to be factorable. So u plus 5 times u minus 4 equals 0. So u equal negative 5 or u equal 4. Now, once you get a u, remember, we start out with the letter p. Okay, so our answer has to be p equals. So let's make sure, let's put everything back. Okay. Alright. So, which means p equal 25 if you square both sides, or p equal 16. Okay. Now, be very careful. This problem is not a polynomial, so therefore you have to check your solutions. If you don't check your solutions, you may get burned. Okay? So let's check. I'm going to check p equal 25 first. So it's just going to plug it in. 25 plus 25 to the 1/2 power minus 20 equals 0. This is 25 plus 5 minus 20. Hopefully equal to 0. and you can definitely tell this is 10. Okay, p equal 25 is not a solution. This is a extraneous solution. Alright, second check, p equals 16. Again, plug everything in. 16 plus 16 to the 1/2 power minus 20 equals 0, hopefully. 16 plus square root of 16 is 4, minus 20, hopefully equal to 0. And you can definitely tell 16 plus 4 minus 20 is 0. So our only answer in this case is 16. Alright? Be extra careful. That's all I have to say. Okay, next problem. 6r to the 2/5 plus 11r to the 1/5 plus 3 equals 0. So let u equal r to the 1/5. U squared is r to the 1/5 quantity squared, which is r to the 2/5. So this becomes 6u squared plus 11u plus 3 equals 0. Okay. This is factorable. This is, let me think. Wait, not 30. Did I say 30? 3, not 30. I don't know why I wrote 30. Sorry about that. So this is going to be factorable, and this is 2u and 3u. This is going to be a plus 3 plus 1 equals 0. Okay, I factor a lot faster just because I have a lot more experience when it comes to this. So this means 2u is negative 3. U equal negative 3/2. Or 3u equal negative 1. U equal negative 1/3. Okay. Again, get it back to r. So this means r to the 1/5 is negative 3/2, or r to the 1/5 is negative 1/3. Okay, this means that if you raise both sides by 5, you get r is negative 243 over 32. Raise both sides by 5. This is r equal negative 1 over 243. Okay. Now, unfortunately, this one, we have to check it, and it's going to suck. Alright, so I'm going to punch this all in the calculator. Just see what happens. So if you punch this all in the calculator, and if you do that, let's see what you end up getting. 6 times negative 243 divided by 32 raised to the 2/5 plus 11 times negative 1 over 243 raised to the 1/5 plus 3. I don't know. What'd you guys get? Did you guys get 77 over 6? Which is not equal to 0. Okay, that's what I got. If you got something different, let me know. Okay. Alright. And so, which means this is no good. and that is extraneous. Now if we check the other one, negative 1 over 243 to the 2/5 power plus 11 to the negative 243, 11 times negative 1 over 243. Oh, wait a minute. This is what I get for doing this way too late at night. This is incorrect. That should be a negative 243 over 32. Try again. Negative 243 over 32. We do get 0 on the first one. This is what happens when you try to do this at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so now punch the second one in the calculator again. This time make sure that I got the right numbers. So this is 1 divided by 243. And this is 1 divided by 243. And you still get 0. Okay. So, note to self, don't do this late at night. Both are good. Okay. Alright. Yeah, let's go ahead and move on. But before I move on, the checking part, it's super important. So make sure you double check and triple check, just because sometimes when you check, you put in the wrong number and then I screw up. Luckily, I caught it before we move on. Alright, moving on. Last question for the quadratic format. 2z to the negative 2 plus 9z to the negative 1 minus 5 equals 0. So let u equal z to the negative 1. U squared is z to the negative 1 squared, which is z to the negative 2. 2u squared plus 9u minus 5 equals 0. So this again is factorable. This is 2u and u. Plus 5 minus 1 equals 0. So which means that 2u equal 1 and u is 1/2. Or u equal negative 5 and u equal negative 5. Okay. Bring it back, right? Has to be z's, can be used. So this is z equal to the negative 1 equal 1/2. Or z to the negative 1 equal negative 5. Okay. Yeah. So let's solve for z. Raise both sides to the negative 1 power. You get z is 2. Or z to the negative 1 power. This is z equal negative 1/5. Okay, negative 1 power just means reciprocal. Now let's check again. 2 times 2 to the negative 2 plus 9 times 2 to the negative 1 minus 5. Hopefully that gives us the right answer. This is 2 over 2 squared plus 9 over 2 minus 5. So this is 1/2 plus 9 over 2 minus 5, which does equal to 0. So 2 is a good answer. Same thing, check, right? 2 times negative 1/5 to the negative 2 power plus 9 times negative 1/5 to the negative 1 power minus 5, hopefully equal to 0. So this is 2 times 25 plus 9 times negative 5. minus 5. 50 minus 45 minus 5, it does equal to 0. So in this case, we got two answers. They're both correct. Okay. Yeah, it's a little quadratic format is a little long, a little messy, but the idea is not too bad, not too complicated. Okay, last one. Hopefully this time the iPad won't crap out on me. Radical equations. Okay. Alright, so for radical equations, this is what I always do. I first thing first, I isolate the radical. So for the first problem, right, I have the square root of 10 plus x minus x equal to 4. So if I isolate the radical, that means I have square root of 10 plus x equal 4 plus x. Okay. Second, square both sides. So square both sides. Please FOIL. Okay, if you don't FOIL, whole thing's wrong. Please FOIL. So I get 10 plus x equal x squared plus 8x plus 16. That's what you FOIL. Now, if no more radicals, then solve with appropriate methods. Appropriate. If radicals are left, if radical remains, repeat steps 1, 2, 3. Alright, let's go ahead and solve. So this is a quadratic equation, so I'm going to set equal to 0. So I get 0 equal x squared plus 7x plus 6. This again is factorable, so that's x plus 6, x plus 1. So x equal negative 6 or x equal negative 1. Okay. So what's the last thing you gotta do? Check. Okay. This is a radical equation. The domain is restricted, so we have to check. Alright, here we go. Let x equal negative 6. So you got square root of 10 plus negative 6 minus a negative 6, hopefully equal to 4. 10 plus negative 6 is the square root of 4 plus 6. I can tell you right now, this is not going to equal to 4. Okay. So this is extraneous. Don't work. Let's check the other solution. X equal negative 1. Plug everything back in. Hopefully equals positive 4. 10 plus negative 1 is a 9, so square root of 9 plus 1. Square root of 9 is 3 plus 1. We do get 4. So x equal negative 1 is the answer. Okay? This is the rule I always go by when I'm solving radical equations. Doesn't matter how many radicals we have. In this book, you will only get 2 radicals at most. They won't give you 3. Even if they do, I won't assign it because it's kind of pointless. Okay, 2 is about the most that we'll do. But follow this rule, and you should be okay. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Now, in this time, you got two radicals. I don't care which radical you isolate. It does not matter. So I'm going to isolate the one that looks tougher. So I subtract square root of a on both sides. Now, once the radical is isolated, we square both sides. Again, please FOIL. You don't FOIL, we are in big trouble. So square and square root cancel, so you have a plus 2 left. After you FOIL, now I'm going to do a little bit of side work on this. Now, if you have the formula memorized for the perfect square trinomial, that'll be great. This is 2 times 2 is 4. Minus 2 square root of a. Repeat that again. Positive a. Okay? First, outer, inner, last. Alright? So kind of cleaning things up a little bit. This is 4 plus a minus 4 square root of a. Okay? Now let's clean things up. Hey, check this out. I can minus a on both sides. I can also minus 4 on both sides. And if I do that, I have negative 2 equal negative 4 square root of a. Okay? From here, now you can divide by 4 if you want. So I'm actually negative 4, so let's do that. So I get square root of a equal 1/2. Now square both sides. We get 1/4 equal a. Okay? Let's check. Square root of 1/4 plus square root of 1/4 plus 2 hopefully equals to 2. Square root of 1/4 is 1/2 plus this is 9 over 4. Square root of 9 over 4 is 3 over 2. 1/2 plus 3 halves, that's 4 halves, which is 2. So our answer is legit. Alright, so this is not too bad. It's just basically one extra step where when you isolate this, right, we had to isolate the square root twice. So, okay, so this is it for 1.6. Any questions? You can post in the forum. Post in the forum on Blackboard, or you can shoot me an email at whsieh@grcc.edu, or you can give me a call at 616-234-4729. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.